Hello children, today we are going to discuss synthetic fibers and plastic. We are going to revise it. First, what are polymers? What are polymers? Polymers are huge molecules usually consisting of long chains made from thousands of similar small molecules called monomers. Poly means many and mer means unit. Like polyester has many units of ester. Now, the process by which monomers are linked together to form polymers is called polymerization. Now, children, we are coming to synthetic fibers. All we know that the man-made fibers are called synthetic fibers, and the raw material of synthetic fiber is coal, petroleum, etc. First synthetic fiber we are going to discuss, that is rayon. Rayon is also called artificial silk. It is cheaper than silk and can be woven like silk fibers. Why do we call it regenerated fiber, children? Regenerated fiber, we call rayon regenerated fiber because the original raw material is what? Cellulose. First cellulose is broken down and then reformed, that is why we call it regenerated fiber. So base is wood pulp. This when we break it and reform, this makes it stronger and easier to dye in a variety of colors. What are the uses of rayon? It is used to make like suits, jackets, stockings, home furnishings like bedspreads, bed sheets, etc. Now we are coming to nylon. Nylon was the first synthetic fiber to be made entirely. This was made entirely of chemicals. It derives its name from the cities New York and London, where it was first marketed. NY New York and LO in London. Okay, and the characteristics of nylon are they are strong, elastic, light, wrinkle resistant, wear resistant, easy to wash, absorb very little water, and they are lustrous in appearance. Uses of nylon: garments such as saris are made from nylon, and it is wear resistant, that garments made from it last for very long also. It is very strong fibers, that is why it is used to make ropes, tents, fishing nets, and parachutes. Next is polyester. Polyester is manufactured from petroleum. Okay, it is made from many units of chemical called ester. It is very strong, crease resistant, like it has all the variety like nylon is having. When we blend polyester with cotton, now this blend is called polycot, and polycot is better in both the way. We can wear in any season this polycot. Polywool we also make by blending polyester with wool, and we call it polywool. Uses of polyester: polyester is used to make clothes such as trousers, shirts, and suits. Its water resistant property makes it ideal for garments and jackets that are to be used in wet or damp environments. PET, PET bottles that are also made from polyester. Okay, now come to next synthetic fiber, acrylic. Okay, next synthetic fiber is acrylic. Acrylic is a type of synthetic fiber that resembles to wool in its properties. It is lightweight, soft, and warm. With a wool-like feel, it resists shrinkage and wrinkles. It can also be dyed very well in a variety of colors. Clothes made from acrylic are cheaper than wool. And children, I have told you the characteristics of these synthetic fibers. Some advantages we are going to discuss, after that disadvantages also. So advantages are what? They are strong, stronger than natural fibers. Next is crease resistant, need not to iron, crease resistant, comfortable, uh, we can wear it in winters comfortably. They are moth proof, moth cannot attack, and easy to wash and last for a long time. Easy to wash, last for a long time. So these are the advantages. These are the advantages of synthetic fiber. Now we are going to discuss disadvantages. Like it has some advantages, then disadvantages also. First disadvantage is it catches fire. Like some of them, like nylon, they catch fire very readily. They do not absorb sweat. Do not absorb sweat. In hot and humid weather, like synthetic clothes stick to body and are therefore uncomfortable. So these are some disadvantages. Now we are coming to the plastics. Plastics. There are two types of plastic: thermoplastics thermosetting plastics. Okay, what are thermoplastic? In thermoplastic, the process of softening by heating and hardening on cooling can be repeated again and again to soften the plastic to get different shapes, and we can recycle it. Thermosetting plastic can be softened by heating only once. Once they are put into a mold and allowed to harden on cooling, they cannot be softened again on heating. Example, bakelite and melamine. Some properties of plastic we are going to discuss. First property, they are inexpensive, lightweight, but and yet strong. They can be made thin and flexible as well as thick and tough. They are non-biodegradable, so they are extremely durable. They are waterproof, that is why it is used to make raincoat, water bottles, bucket, mugs, etc. They are poor conductor of heat and electricity, that is why we used to coat it with the wire, we coat with the plastic. They are poor conductor of electricity, as I told you. Electric wires, cords of electric appliances and cables have plastic coating. They don't give any reaction with water and air, and they do not corrode. That is why they are used to store chemicals such as acids, etc. Like we can store pickles and all in the plastic container. Now I am going to discuss some plastics, common plastics and their uses, properties and uses. Okay. First is polythene. Children, polythene is a thermoplastic. It is strong and flexible. It is used to make sheets and used to pack liquids such as milk. Polythene pipe are used to transport liquids. Second is polyvinyl chloride, we also call it in short PVC. This is tougher than polythene and it is insulated, used as a covering for electric wire, used to make shoes, handbags, furniture, etc. Next is polystyrene, very useful. Polystyrene, easily molded, used as a packaging material for delicate objects like electronic item and to make thermocol. Thermocol cups and all we make out of this. Next is perspex, very interesting. Perspex, transparent like glass but much stronger, used as a substitute for glass for making windows in aeroplane. Now next is bakelite. It is thermosetting plastic. Thermosetting plastic, harder than other plastics and a good electrical insulator. It is used to make plugs, switches, etc. Next is formica or melamine. Melamine, it is also thermosetting plastic, hard and smooth surface, used to make tabletops and for making rock. So these I have discussed some plastics. Now we are going to discuss problems related with plastics. As we know, it is non-biodegradable. It's the biggest problem. One of the most significant environmental problems associated with plastic is the improper disposal of plastic goods by people. Because plastics are non-biodegradable, they cannot be decomposed by the microorganisms in the soil. Careless disposal of plastic bags chokes the soil and hinders the absorption of water by the soil. If eaten by animals such as cows, it can kill them. Plastic bags can also contaminate foodstuffs because of poisonous dyes getting absorbed into food, and if burned, they release poisonous fumes and pollute the air. Okay. Now next, what we can do, how can we conserve, we take some action for the conservation and to eradicate the problems related to the plastic, what we can do. Okay. Buy products with less plastic packaging. This way we can avoid plastic. Shoppers should use their own bags or recycled paper bags. Support recycling schemes and promote support for one in our local areas. Practice and promote paper disposal of plastics in your home. Never dispose of plastic in the sewage system. Pick up any plastic litter that you see in the vicinity and dispose it off in a proper place. Encourage others to do likewise. As a responsible citizen, always remember the 4R principle: refuse, reduce, reuse and recycle. So children, that's all for this lesson, revision of this lesson. Now we are going to discuss metals and non-metals. Metals and non-metals, we are going to do comparative studies. Okay. First, what are metals? Here we are going to write down about metal, this side non-metal. Metals are defined as elements which form positive ions. They form positive ions, they form negative ions. Negative ions. Like we say sodium is positive and chlorine is negative. Okay. Non-metals are defined as elements which form negative ions by gaining electrons. Elements with 4 valency electrons are normally metalloids. Some elements having the property of metals as well as non-metal, we call them metalloids. Example of some metalloids are like boron, silicon, etc., arsenic, antimony. Now come to the metals. Some metals, they are non-reactive. Okay, we call them noble metals, like gold, noble metals, gold, silver, platinum, etc. Here also some non-metals, they are noble gases also, in the form of gases they are present in the environment also, like helium, neon, argon is present in the environment. Okay, so these are noble gases, non-reactive. They are non-reactive metals, they are non-reactive gases. Okay, non-reactive non-metals, or we say gases. Now third, I am going to tell you the ores of they found in nature in what form. Some are found in combined form, some are found in free form. So these are free form metals, they occur in free form, and these are non-metal, they occur in free form. Some they found in compound form, like I am telling you the name of ore, we call that ore of calcium carbonate, like calcium dolomite. This is ore of calcium. Now ore of aluminium bauxite, ore of iron hematite. So some metals they found in compound form. Here also some non-metal they also found in compound form. Okay, like we talk about, like if non-metal hydrogen, it is like present on earth. Hydrogen mainly occurs in combined form as a constituent of water, H2O, petroleum, natural gas, coal, clay, and all animal and plants. Nitrogen, it occurs in free form, okay, free state, and also in the combined state. In combined state, it is found in sodium nitrate. We also call it chili saltpetre. Oxygen is found in free form also and combined form, both. Carbon, it is pure carbon free form, we say diamond and graphite, and it is also found in like combined state, like carbon dioxide, and also in plant and animal this is present. Now silicon is the second most abundant element in the earth crust. It is not it is found, it occurs as silica, and we call that silicates. Okay, this is the most common form of silicon. Sulfur occur in the free state in the earth crust. Okay, now come to the properties of metals and non-metals. In properties, we will discuss both physical and chemical properties. Properties of metals and non-metals. First property is, now first we are going to discuss physical properties. In physical properties, first we will take physical state. Physical state. Metals are generally solid at room temperature. Exception is there in metal, like mercury is found in liquid state at room temperature. Non-metal, generally they are found in solid, liquid, or in gaseous form. Solid, carbon, sulfur. Liquid is bromine, and gaseous form of non-metal, oxygen and nitrogen. Second is luster. Metals generally they are lustrous. Luster means shine. Okay, they have metallic luster. Exception are sodium. They have shiny appearance. Non-metals, they do not have a metallic luster, but exception are there. What are they? Graphite and iodine. They are lustrous. Now come to the third is hardness and strength. Metals are generally, they are hard and strong. Some exceptions are sodium and potassium. They are soft, we can easily cut them with the knife. Non-metals generally, they are not so hard, but the hardest knowing non-metal is diamond. Okay, it is the hardest substance known. Next is malleability and ductility. Okay, what is malleability? The property of metals by which they can be beaten into thin sheet is known as malleability. So all metals are malleable except sodium and potassium, calcium also. The property of metal by which they can be drawn into thin wire is known as ductility. Gold and silver are most malleable and ductile metals. Acha, non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. They are brittle in nature. Okay, now next is conductivity. Next is fifth, conductivity. Metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. That is why utensils are made of metal and wires, they are made of metals, because they are good conductor of heat and electricity. Now non-metals, they are bad conductor of heat and electricity. Exception are graphite is an exception. It is a good conductor of heat and electricity. And diamond is also a good conductor of heat but not electricity. Next is sonorous. When we beat metal, they produce a ringing sound. This is called, says that metals are sonorous by nature. They produce ringing sound. But non-metals, they are non-sonorous. Melting and boiling point. Number 7, melting and boiling point. Generally, metals have high melting and boiling points, and non-metals, they have low melting and boiling points. Okay, now next is specific gravity. Number 8 is specific gravity. Generally, metals, they have high specific gravity, and non-metals, they have low specific gravity. Okay, their specific gravity is higher than the non-metals, or then higher than 1, we can say, because water's specific gravity is 1, and metals, they have more specific gravity than the water. Now after physical properties, we are coming to the chemical properties. Chemical properties. Reaction with oxygen. When metals react with oxygen, they form metallic oxide. Okay, they form metallic oxide. And when non-metals react with oxygen, they form non-metallic oxide. Okay, this is metallic oxide, this is non-metallic oxide. When this metallic oxide is dissolved in water, it forms it is also called basic oxide. It is called acidic oxide. It forms bases and OH whole twice, and it forms acids like sulfurous acid. Okay, when we bring red litmus paper, dip in this solution turns red litmus paper to blue. So this shows that this is base and this is blue litmus. It turns blue litmus to red. It is acidic in nature. So when they react with oxygen, they form basic oxide, they form acidic oxide, or we can say when we dissolve these oxides in water, it forms base and it forms acid. Now second, reaction with water. Reaction with water. Metals, they are highly reacted with water, like sodium, potassium and calcium vigorously react with water. Children, conditions are there. You have to learn about the condition. Sodium directly react with water and form sodium hydroxide, NaOH, and it releases hydrogen gas. When we balance it, we need to write 2 here. Okay, 2Na, 2NaOH. Here also it requires 2 here. Okay, so this is a balanced equation. But second condition, when magnesium reacts, magnesium does not react with cold water, like sodium can react with cold water, but magnesium reacts with hot water. Water needs to be hot, otherwise it will not react. Okay, it forms oxide, not hydroxide. It forms oxides and releases hydrogen gas. Okay, and releases hydrogen gas. Third, when zinc react with water, so zinc only react with water when water is in which form? Steam form. Not hot, not cold, it is in steam form. Then it forms zinc oxide and liberates hydrogen gas. So conditions are different. You have to pay attention. Now come to the non-metals. Non-metals, they do not react with water. With water, non-metals, they don't give any reaction. Okay. Very reactive non-metals such as phosphorus, which catch fire when exposed to air, are therefore stored in water. So why we store it in water, this non-metal? Because it is non-reactive with water. But this sodium, children, sodium we do not store in water, as you know, it gives reaction with water and forms base. That is why we store sodium in kerosene. Okay, now second is reaction with acids. Reaction with acid. When metals react with acid, they give salt and release water gas. When metal react with acid, it forms salt and give out hydrogen gas. Okay, like sodium. Sodium react with hydrochloric acid, it will form NaCl, this is salt, and it will give off hydrogen gas. But we will balance it, here 2, and here also 2. It is a balanced equation. Now iron with hydrochloric acid, it gives iron chloride, FeCl2 plus H2 gas. We will balance it. 2, here we are going to write down 2. This is balance. 2H, Cl2, H2. Children, you do practice of balancing. Now children, if we are going to give the reaction with copper, it will not give the reaction with copper. Why? Because copper cannot replace hydrogen. Copper cannot replace hydrogen. For this we have to see the metal reactivity series. Okay, now and then non-metals, they don't give any reaction with acid or bases. These bases, okay, sorry, non-metals, they do not react with acids nor reaction with bases. We see that generally metals also, they don't give reaction with bases, but sodium, it react with base. Okay, metals like aluminum, zinc, lead react with strong base, and their reaction you will learn in higher classes. Now we are coming to the displacement reaction. Displacement reaction. Displacement, as the word is showing, that it displaces other. For this we must know reactivity series. What is the reactivity series? An arrangement of metal in decreasing order of reactivity is called reactivity series. In this reactivity series we will find that hydrogen is also there. Although hydrogen, we know it is a non-metal. Why we have written hydrogen there? Because hydrogen forms hydrogen ion. It forms positive ion. That is why we have kept in metal reactivity series. As you have seen when I was telling you copper is a metal, it cannot displace hydrogen because hydrogen is more reactive than copper. So go through the reactivity series and learn that. Now, what is displacement reaction? A metal can replace another metal placed below it in the reactivity series, but cannot replace a metal placed above it in the reactivity series. Okay, like giving the example, very simple. Iron nail, I told you in the class, when we put in copper sulfate solution, as we know in metal reactivity, we have seen iron is more reactive than copper, so it is going to replace copper. It will form iron sulfate and it release copper. Okay, it will release copper. This is blue. This solution was blue in color. Now when iron sulfate is formed, it becomes green. Okay, so this is what displacement reaction. If I do the reaction with iron sulfate, in iron sulfate if we put copper, so there would be no reaction. Why? Copper is lower in reactivity series than iron, so it cannot displace iron. More reactions are there. Next is like zinc, magnesium. We will take many, like magnesium and iron sulfate we have taken. Which one is more reactive? Magnesium. It can replace iron. So magnesium sulfate plus iron. Now if we are taking aluminum sulfate, or we say calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate, we are reacting with iron. Any reaction will take place, we will see the metal reactivity series, we will find it is not going to displace. So no reaction will take place. Okay, so this way zinc is given, zinc with copper sulfate, reaction of zinc with copper sulfate. Zinc can displace it and form zinc sulfate plus copper. Okay, so I hope the things are clear to you. All you do lots of practice of this. That's all, children. Thank you.